Hey again, everyone. You're probably saying you're getting tired of me now, but I don't care. You love seeing me. Okay. You love seeing me. So, this is Corinne Lafont, and this is a video response specifically for Jillian La Rocque. I love saying her name, Jillian La Rocque. I'm like, there was somebody else with a name called Rock, I think it was Altia Rock, popular model. Yeah, even I think she's from Trinidad too, Altia Rock. Yeah, I think she had braids and all that. Beautiful woman. I don't know where she is now. If anybody knows, you know, I hope she's still alive and everything is well with her. If anybody knows, they can let me know. Yeah, but that name just came back to me, Jillian La Rocque. So this video response is for Jillian La Rocque. She took part in my challenge me, as you can see here, on the communication strategy. I have three of these, one on branding, one on content creation, I think, and one on communication strategy. I will change these up as time go along. I'll keep reposting these every now and again, and I'll keep adding based on different aspects of PR because that's what my area is, public relations and communications. And so I'm here to serve you. If there are any questions that you have that you would like answered, be as specific and detailed as possible. You would have noticed that I took a little while before posting this particular video. The first one I did for Cynthia Miller, I wanted to give it some time to see what the response would be. And she realized that based on the feedback I gave her on the question she asked, that she was thinking something else in mind, but the information is still relevant to her. So after seeing that sort of feedback, I decided to hold back a while and see. But I'm just saying to you that if you're giving me a question, make sure that you think it through, put as much details as possible so that I can really come in and answer your question as best as possible. Okay? I'm sure it will be helpful to you as Cynthia has admitted, I have put a fire under her. That's the intention, put a fire and inspire her. And so she's, hopefully going to use the information, or probably somebody who's going through what she asks would find it useful. So I'm doing communication strategy for Jillian La Rocque, and this one is going to take me a little bit, but I'm going to try to condense it. Okay, so it's under this blue one. So each of the three challenge me's that I have, challenge me's that I have. This one is blue, one is green, and one is yellow. I think. Yes, this one is blue, one is green, and one is yellow. So communication strategy is blue this time around. So I am going to run the question at the bottom of the screen. This is exactly as Jillian requested it. So what methods or tools can be used to measure the success of your communication strategy? All right, I'll leave that to run for a little bit and I'll repeat it again. What methods or tools can be used to measure the success of your communication strategy? And this is a powerful question, really challenging me here. And what I'm about to share is just my perspective, and it is by no means comprehensive. It is by no means to be taken and applied to every situation. Okay, this is just an overview just to get you thinking in a particular direction so you have an idea where I'm coming from, and more details can be had if you decide that you wish to secure me or procure me or retain me as your PR consultant or to come in to do some work for you. You can let me know. Okay. So the question again, what methods or tools can be used to measure the success of your communication strategy? So we're looking at measurement, we're looking at methods or tools, um, and we're looking at communication strategy. Now, the thing about communication strategy, a lot of people don't, let me see how best I can say this. A lot of people don't think this thing through. A communication strategy, like any strategy for a company, even if it's an individual, you're a solopreneur, femalepreneur, malepreneur, couplepreneur, large corporation, it doesn't matter if it's one or many, large, small, mini, it doesn't matter. A communication strategy is supposed to come from the larger strategic objectives of the organization. Okay? You are not supposed to be trying to do something outside of. So if you have a PR department, it should never, or any department, marketing, sales, or whatever department, but this is specifically about PR, it should never be, if you're given an assignment like this, the first thing, if I were running the department, that I would do is ask for the strategic plan. Where's your strategic plan? 5-year plan, 10-year plan? Where is your strategic plan? Most strategic plans are like 5 years, and then you could revise it, right? Update it. So, where's your strategic plan? That is going to give me where you want to go in year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, etc., and more details. Who are your target audience? A lot more details, and so on, right? What are the goals you want to achieve? What are the tools that you'll be using should be in there. How you plan to achieve it, how you plan to measure. So the answer to having a communication strategy, or the first step, would be to backtrack. Okay, as we say in Jamaica, wheel and come again. Wheel and come again. You see, I had to do the movement. Yeah, wheel and come again. Go back to the beginning and ask for the strategic plan. You go through that strategic plan with your people, understand it, and then you start talking with all the parties involved. You can make certain assumptions. You could decide what those assumptions would be. But like I said, this is going to be an overview. Let me just remove the little tick at the bottom. It could be a bit distracting. And let me, right, so that is small now. Right, so the first thing would be to get the strategic plan so that you know what is the bigger picture. Because one of the first mistakes people make is coming into a department and trying to impress. Everybody's trying to impress the boss, the higher ups, the manager, the whatever, because it's their job and they're trying to stay. And none of that really keeps you there. Let me just let you know, no matter how much you work, how much hard, how much sacrifice, blood, sweat, and tears, it doesn't guarantee you staying in the job. But anyway, so it's not about you. That's the first thing. Take your personality, your personal out of it. And it's not about you trying to impress. And why do I say that? Because I'll give you an example, and this is all part of communication strategy. In Trinidad, and all the Trinidadians, you can back me up here if you want to. I'll leave it up to you. But we know in Trinidad, there are different ministries under the government responsible for a certain portfolio. And the road will look nice. Walking and driving, they would fix the road. And I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. The people who does that, road and works and transport ministry, who is responsible for the roads and so on. And the road will be paved, and you'll be like, yes, I could walk freely, I could jog, my children could go out on the road, ride their bikes, they could have fun. My car smooth. Yes, driving on the road will be nice and smooth. And before you know it, that same smooth road that your children could walk on, play and ride, and you could walk and jog, and your car could drive. WASA, which is the Water and Sewage Authority. Now, if anybody working WASA, don't come and kill me. You know it's true. WASA will come probably a few days, not long after, and dig up that nice road. Okay, dig it up, and you'll be like, what? In your little mind, you're like, how is it possible that the road fixed and then they come and dig it up? And so the same road is now looking like, you come up with the words, okay? That is a communication issue. And you might be saying, but that is not within the organization. That is just within who now? Works and transport. But you see, each minister responsible for a ministry and all the respective departments have things to do. Everybody's operating in silos by themselves. They get a job description, they get whatever, and not realizing that it's a chain, it's a connectivity, it's like the human body, it's working together, it's an organization. And even if it's a ministry having its own portfolio and it goes out there and carry its work, because Ministry of Works and Transport will say, we fix the road, we do our part, we did what we're supposed to do, check. but, but it has an impact on Water and Sewage Authority, WASA, and vice versa. Because now WASA comes up and digs up the same road that Works and Transport just fixed, looking nice and dandy. And now Works and Transport not looking good in the eyes of people because the road is bad and people complaining again. But Works and Transport don't care because they're like, we did it already. If WASA wants to come and dig up the road, that is not our problem. But it is. It is a problem because communication did not happen. Even if you have your own portfolio in the ministry, another ministry, it takes several ministries to run a government that represents the people. Now, why did I? This is what is connected back to what I'm saying. It's not about you. So the whole ego trip of saying we did our part, check, tick, it's impacting everybody else, not realizing that it's not about saying the Ministry of Works and Transport did its thing. It's not about saying WASA did its thing, or whichever ministry or minister did its thing, or department did their thing. It's about serving the people. Coming back to the strategic plan, even governments have a strategic plan. They're supposed to. Everything starts from there, the umbrella. And so each supposed to communicate. So WASA is supposed to know what Works and Transport doing and all the other ministries to see where there's overlap so that wastage of resources in terms of everything, money especially, people, time, effort, is not wasted. So I hope you're understanding where the communication strategy is coming. Now, communication strategy is a very serious thing. What I just explained and give an example about, you might think it's external. And most people think communication strategy is all about external. Communication strategy is also about internal because who are you communicating with? People keep forgetting that your staff, employees, and all the people are also your stakeholders. They're one of your major stakeholders. Also, external, the public, the people who you're serving, your target audience as well. And your target audience could be broken up into primary, secondary, and tertiary. And then you may have another set of stakeholders, your investors, your promoters, your charity work, whatever it may be. So communication to each one of these groups will be different. And you have to see where there's an overlap, where there's an interchange, a link that when I do something here, it's going to impact here. And all of that comes back to the beginning, the strategic plan. So if we're looking at measurement of these things, that's where things get a bit tricky. Because when you're doing the communication strategy, you have to incorporate risk in everything as well. What if, what if, what if? So, for example, we had an all island blackout probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, probably more. And the island of Trinidad, no lights nowhere, nowhere. And when I say no lights, it's not just lights, telecommunication, everything was down. No Wi Fi, no internet, no phone call, nothing. We were just like sitting ducks. Okay, like sitting ducks. We couldn't reach anybody, couldn't talk to anybody, nothing, nothing. Okay, and that happened for like almost for about 12 to probably 14 hours. Some places it was more than that. What would you do to communicate in a situation like that? You have to remember that old school still works. Okay, old school still works. What that old school may be in a particular situation like that, I don't know. But even things like Morse code, like ships outside, that kind of thing, going back to learning these things. I remember what just came to me a while ago. I dance. I mean, I haven't been dancing lately because, with the pandemic and all of that. But I always remember my instructors, even professionals in world of dance, even on Dancing with the Stars, all these professional international dancers, you know what they say? Always practice the basics. Never assume that you're so good that the basics, because you always go back to the basics. You always go back to the basics. Never forget, the most professional goes back to the basics. All athletes, professional athletes, they do the same thing over and over and over. You don't see that. You don't see that. But that's what they're doing to be the best of the best. Okay, so we have to keep in mind that with all communication strategy, one of the strategies in the communication strategies is to always consider risk in anyone, whether it's internal or external. Now, when you're talking methods and tools, here's another thing, and it would link back to what I said a while ago about the ego. When Jillian asked about methods and tools, I started to think, what could I use? So, for example, I like simplicity. That's me. Keep it simple. I am not a believer in trying to get the most complicated, complex thing to say, ooh, we have that, and we are using ABCX box YX to the second. No, I don't need to do that. That's feeding my ego, and I can't even use the damn software. If something happened, I can't fix it. I can't backtrack to anything old school. But I have the latest technology. No, you use something simple, something that can fit, as I say, go back to your strategic plan, something that can fit your work culture, your work values, your strategic plan. Look at the features, what you want to achieve, what is the impact you want to have, what is the kind of anticipated or expected results you want to have from your communication strategy based on the strategies you're using, internal, external, and you decide which tool will work for you. I cannot tell you what tools, because this is customizable for each entity and size, culture, values, as I say, strategic plan. But basic for me as a starting point, just to get the run of the mill and to get a feel, and you can expand from there. Start with something small, something basic. Office 365 has a lot of tools that gives you a lot of analytics to be able to track, to be able to see how many people open probably documents, emails. Let me tell you something. People want to tell off and put email on the back shelf. Email is the most, and I will not stop saying it, effective way of communicating. You know why? With WhatsApp and all them other things, you could lose that information. With email, you don't. And there's a timestamp, and you can track it. You can see who forward. You can see if it's open. You have the red receipts. There is a tracking system. WhatsApp don't have that. And as much as you may want to back up, it cannot be held, how would I say, legally admissible in a court of law. Okay? Email can, emails can. So don't leave out emails. But Office 365 has some powerful features. And another one that I would suggest is HubSpot. HubSpot is another tool that you could use for both internal and external as part of your communication strategy in terms of tools to use. The methods I mentioned before in discussing all the different nuances with like the ministry and stuff, but as I said, don't take what I say and plaster it in your organization. You have to understand the nuances of your organization, the people, the culture, what you're offering, your services, where you're offering it, which is, has a lot of risk to online, offline, overseas, language, different languages. We have to consider all of that. Time zones, okay, all of that is going to be impacting communication strategy, and you have to put things in place that would make it as smooth and effective as possible without complicating anything further, without making the stakeholders, internal, your staff, external, your target audience, frustrated at the end of the day. It is not to frustrate anybody, it is not to stress them. It is to make their life easier. So, for example, department to department, they're supposed to be linked, understand what's going on, and input. You know, you learn certain things about input and output. Okay. You put in something, it's supposed to give you a certain output. But it as I said, it's like a chain. You know, it's linked. This link supposed to know what's going on with that link, supposed to know what's going on with that link. If you break that link, things a lot of things can fall apart. And you don't want that. Right? So you have to consider a lot of risk, what if possibilities, and have a backup plan for everything. A communication strategy is not a document to play with. It is not something to just be casual about. I've heard people say, oh, I can prepare a communication strategy in a day. From the time I hear that, I know they don't know what they're doing. Unless I'm the only one overthinking, maybe, maybe, but you tell me. You tell me. Okay? Unless I may be the one overthinking, but you tell me. I've had people say, I could do that in a day. I'm like, good for you. Good for you. I don't know what kind of communication strategy you're doing. Or as I say, I may be overthinking. But this, as I said, is just giving an overview. I've gone 21 minutes and a bit over. I don't want to go any more further into this, but this is just to give an idea, an overview as to the kind of thought patterns and processes I would like you to have. Jillian, this is for you. I would love to have your feedback. Other persons listening and watching this, I would also love to have your feedback. If you are inclined, and let me say, I wanted to give Jillian, let me just stop screen a bit so that you get to know who Jillian is. I'm going to, because I did it for Cynthia and I promised I would do it for others. Anybody who, yeah, who asks me a question, I'm going to be featuring them so that they know who they are. So Jillian offers Your Extra Hand. She's also in sales and marketing. Okay, and I'm sure one day she's going to have a massive corporation of salespersons and marketeers all over the globe. I'm speaking it into being for you, Jillian. Right? So check out Jillian at yourextrahandsonline.com. Okay, and she's offering a free strategy session. So let me come back here too, or I can just put in my website here. So if you are inclined to, you like the responses I've been giving so far, and if you're inclined to also ask me a question, feel free to do so. You're going to get the same amount of passion and drive and respect and expertise. Okay. And of course, if you are inclined based on what I'm saying, that you feel that I know what I'm doing and you trust me enough, and of course, you've checked my LinkedIn profile, you can feel free to, as I said, procure, retain. What was the other word that I used? Um, I can't remember the third word I used earlier, but retain my services as a professional in public relations and communications. And this is my website here. So you can feel free to reach out to me, and I would be happy to serve you. Yeah. Of course, doing this, like I mentioned in the previous video, would not be free. This will be on my clearly, engaging me, which is another word that I just used. So thank you so much, Jillian, for the question. I hope I was able to give you something to work with. I hope I was on point, given the question that you asked. And to other persons, I hope this is able to serve you as well. Please leave your feedback, comments. I would love, I would love to have that. Yeah, and of course, feel free to reach out to me on my website as well, if or refer my services. I'll really appreciate it. So thank you so much, and keep the questions coming. You are really challenging me. I am pushed here, and I love to be mentally pushed. It is intellectually stimulating for me. I love it. This is good. This is good. Thank you so much for the challenge. Keep it coming. Okay. Thank you so much, Jillian La Rocque.